Welcome back to IELTS IQ. Today we have a brand new speaking part 2 task card, so let's jump right in. Today we have describe a time you did something difficult and succeeded. When and what you did, why it was difficult, what the result was, and explain how you felt about it. Below the task card, you can see a grid style layout. This is how I like to make some notes. Please grab a pen, get a notebook or a piece of paper, pause the video and write down some notes for your talk, okay? And then we're going to jump straight into the vocabulary. Okay. Here we have the words and phrases that I'm going to be using. Again, take a moment to pause the video, write down the words and try and put them into the correct place for your talk. Okay, starting from the top, insurmountable, a lovely adjective we use for difficult things in our life. Not so much for homework or something like this. To pursue your dreams would be a great collocation for this one. Next, burden, to be a burden. Or we could use this with financial burden. To make ends meet, okay? Lovely idiom we have here, to make ends meet. Kind of like to get enough money to live day to day for your bills or things like this. Throw in the towel is to give up. So we have this lovely idiom for giving up. I would recommend all of you try to remember this one. Overwhelmed, to be or to feel overwhelmed by something. Very easy one to remember too. Next up, we have persevere. To persevere, to continue, to carry on. With honors, so to graduate from university or a course with a very high level, we usually say with honors. Dedication, right? This is a word most of you should know. If you're aiming for 7 and above in your speaking, you guys should be familiar with dedication. Looking back, this great time phrase, right? So looking back at something with a modern or a new perspective, very common phrase here. See it through. Now this doesn't mean to see through something. It's an idiom. We use this to continue to the end, to see something through. Kind of like throw in the towel. To see it through is kind of an opposite phrase where we want to get to the end. We want to finish. We don't want to throw in the towel. Alright guys, before we go and look at my sample, let's review the 3 points we need to remember if we want to learn vocabulary or grammar. First, you guys need to learn it. That's what we're doing here. We're learning phrases. Next, you need to use it. You should be using some of these phrases in your talk today. And that's not enough. We need to repeat it, okay? We write words down, we use them, and we repeat them a week, a month, a year, and then we achieve it. Then we have it. It's in here, okay? Learn, use, repeat, achieve. Okay, let's get to my sample. Let me share a time when I faced what felt like an insurmountable challenge, but ultimately succeeded. Alright guys, if you've been following the channel, you know I'm a huge fan of short introductions with some paraphrase and details. Faced, don't forget that t sound for the ed. What felt like an insurmountable challenge, very common collocation, right? Insurmountable challenge, ultimately succeeded. Okay, moving on. A few years ago, I decided to change careers, which meant going back to school to pursue a degree in a field I was passionate about. This was a tough decision. It meant leaving behind a stable job and taking on the financial burden of education again. Okay, let's unpack some of this. You can see a few years ago, I'm very vague, I'm not very specific with when exactly, decided to change careers. I've got a lovely connection, which meant going back to school. We've got pursue, which we've just looked at. Another collocation here, stable job, right? If you have job stability or stable job, it's going to be a very nice collocation of words. Taking on the financial burden, very common phrase here. I had to balance my coursework with a part-time job in order to make ends meet. And there were definitely times when I felt like throwing in the towel. I remember feeling overwhelmed and questioning whether I had made the right decision, but I persevered. I constantly reminded myself of why I'd made the decision in the first place. Okay, so we've got some really nice contractions. Why I'd made, why I had, right? Why I'd made the decision in the first place. Sounds really good like that. Remember, guys, if you're aiming for a 7 and above, you need to be contracting your phrases, okay? I remember feeling overwhelmed and questioning whether I'd made the right decision. We could also contract that I had as well. I persevered. We've got the ed for past forms, right? Okay. And in the end, it was worth it. I graduated with honors and secured a job in my desired field pretty quickly. This experience taught me valuable life lessons. It's okay to take risks for something you believe in. Perseverance, along with dedication and hard work, your passion can lead you to success. Okay, so graduated with honors, we've got that phrase. Perseverance, here I have the noun phrase of to persevere. Along with dedication and hard work, your passion can lead you to success. Looking back, I'm incredibly proud of taking that leap and seeing it through. And there we have it, okay? Look at my conclusion, it's one sentence, right? I highly recommend you guys try using the majority of your time for the body of speech. A short introduction, very brief or short conclusions, all you need. Remember to try and talk naturally, okay? Take your time, slow down. A slower, more well-pronounced talk with word stress is always going to score and just sound better than a quick, raced, rushed talk. Okay, so take your time. Okay, that brings us to the end of this lesson. Once again, thank you for joining me. Hit that like button. Drop a comment below on anything you've learned or anything you'd like to add or even see for next time. Alright guys, adios, goodbye.